Talk!
Donald Trump said he gets a kick out of reporting on the 13 human beings who died in his illegal war in Iran.
We've lost in two major wars. We took over Venezuela. We essentially took over Iran. And we've lost so far 13 people. Somebody else would have lost 100,000 people. Okay? But I get a kick when I look at somebody on television. He's lost 13 people. I lost 13 people.
A kick. Let me tell you what that means. That's not a gaffe. That's not a bad word choice. That is a man telling you exactly who he is. A man who doesn't give a damn whether your kid comes home in a flag-draped coffin. A man for whom 13 dead Americans isn't a tragedy. It's a talking point. He thinks he's winning. That is a sociopath. The single heaviest decision any commander-in-chief ever makes, the one that keeps presidents up at night, the one that breaks them, the one they carry for the rest of their lives, is the decision to send someone else's child into harm's way. To look at a mother, a father, a spouse, and say, I am asking your person to go somewhere they might not come back from. That decision is supposed to cost something. It's supposed to hurt. It's supposed to be the last resort of a leader who has exhausted every other option and still can't sleep. But Donald Trump gets a kick out of it. This is the man who mocked John McCain for being a prisoner of war, who picked a fight with a Gold Star family, who insulted a military widow on the phone while her husband's body was still in the air, who skipped dignified transfers for golf, who used the flag-draped coffin of one of his own fallen to fundraise, who called the heroes buried in the American cemetery in France suckers and losers, who gutted the VA and fired more veterans than any president in American history. This is someone who has displaced tens of thousands of veterans from their homes. He's never given a damn about the troops, not once, not ever. They are props, they are photo ops, they are numbers he waves around to prove he's winning. And he launched this war illegally, unconstitutionally, without a single congressional vote, without a single debate, and got 13 people killed, and then stood in front of cameras and told you the number is so low, you should be impressed. Only 13. Nicole Amor, 39 years old. Only 13. Noah Tegens, 42 years old. Only 13. Declan Cody, 20 years old. 20 years old. Only 13. Jeffrey O'Brien, 45 years old. Cody Cork, 35 years old. Robert Marzin, 54 years old. Benjamin Pennington, 26 years old. John Alex Klinner, 33 years old. Ariana Savino, 31 years old. Ashley Pruitt, 34 years old. Seth Koval, 38 years old. Curtis Angst, 30 years old. Tyler Simmons, 28 years old. Those are not numbers. Those are not leverage. Those are not the winning side of a comparison to World War II that a man with bone spurs is making to a room full of reporters. Those are mothers, fathers, sisters, brothers, husbands, wives, friends, citizens, heroes. They are not some impressively low number on a scorecard. They are not a stat he gets to brag about. Children will never feel their father's embrace ever again. A mother will never hold her son. A wife will never hear the words, I love you, from the man she married. And Donald Trump gets a kick out of it. He gets a fucking kick out of it. Our troops deserve more than that. Their families deserve more than that. Our country deserves more than a 5-time draft-dodging, bone-spurred, never-served-a-single-day sociopath at the helm of the most powerful military on earth, launching illegal wars without a vote, without a debate, without a moment's hesitation, and laughing at the people who dare to say the names of those he has sent to their graves.
It's forever fuck Trump. Destroying fucking jobs and think he gonna be on the fucking labor building. Fuck that fraud. We'll never forget what you did to black women. We'll never forget what you did to the fucking communities. It's forever fuck that demon. and anybody who still support him. Hey, fuck Trump today, fuck Trump tomorrow, and fuck Trump forever.
Fuck Donald Trump. Fuck Donald Trump. Fuck Donald Trump. Fuck Donald Trump.
I just got out from Delaney Hall. I was in there with Congressman Menendez. We went in because we heard of the complaints, the people protesting, hundreds of them talking about the inhumane treatment that they're getting. We talked with dozens, if not 100 or more of the detainees. Often they were talking about the poor food that they're getting, really disgusting food, that they're not getting the medical treatment that they need and deserve. I talked with a pregnant woman that was not getting the care that she needed. I talked with an 18-year-old high school senior who should be at a school, not in this facility there. This place needs to shut down, and these people need to be able to get out, be back with their families. They are not even being given the time in court. If this administration is so convinced that these are people that are dangerous, give them time in court. I mean, this is a farce of a situation. It is not reflective of our Constitution, of our laws, of how people, anybody in this country should be treated. So that is why I was here with Congressman Menendez. We're going to continue to fight for their rights, fight for their treatment, and make sure that we can do everything we can to restore our country's rule of law and our belief in our values in immigration.
That's incorrect.
Excuse me. Let me get something straight with you first here. I've seen you interrupt everyone. When you come to someone's house, you respect their rules. And in this house, we don't interrupt individuals. And you're not going to interrupt my time. I'm going to give you time to respond. You may want to jot down some notes about things that you don't agree with me on so that you can respond to them at that time. But while I'm speaking, as the person holding this time, you will refrain from speaking, sir, until I am done, and then I will give you time to speak, okay?
Look forward to facts.
Thank you. I'll look forward to your response, whether they're factual or incorrect either.
Genuinely cannot believe I'm saying this, and that it is not a top-of-the-page headline story across the country, but the U.S. Army just swore in 4 tech executives as lieutenant colonels. The CTO of Palantir, Peter Thiel's company, the CTO of Meta, Mark Zuckerberg's company, and OpenAI's chief product officer and former chief research officer, the company belonging to Sam Altman. These 4 men are all now 1 rank away from a general, second in command for field grade officers. There are 16 ranks lower than a lieutenant colonel, and these 4 untrained civilians just leapfrogged over soldiers who have dedicated their entire career and lives to the U.S. military. Apparently, these men are going to work on targeted projects to help guide rapid and scalable tech solutions to complex problems. A sentence that means absolutely nothing, because clearly this is just a way of giving these companies access to top secret information without them having to go through any pesky background checks. And if that doesn't scare you, it really should. Because we already know that Palantir is building a massive centralized database, using much of the information they acquired from Doge, Elon Musk's foray into the American government. These billionaire tech bros are compiling lists of our most sensitive information, our tax records, medical data, bank accounts, social security information, immigration status. This administration is allowing them to build the infrastructure for techno-feudalism, authoritarianism in the form of data and surveillance. It is a horrifying and blatant conflict of interest that harms the safety and security of all Americans. There should not be this much overlap between private tech and the U.S. government, certainly not between private tech and the U.S. military. I do not know how asleep at the wheel Congress can possibly be, but they should be shutting this down immediately, and every single one of us should be demanding that they do it. The people who are using the government against you are now taking over military authority. The corruption is calculated and staggering, and I can only hope our veterans and active duty military are paying incredibly close attention. And now that you know, you should be talking about it.
Here you go. Can
Yes.
we do one quick lightning round? Here we go. Are you ready?
Ready.
What are you watching or streaming for fun in all your spare time?
Okay, I'm currently working very slowly through Love Story.
Wow. Okay. So far, so good?
So far, very good.
Okay. Are you reading anything right now? Do you have time to read for fun?
I haven't been able to read in quite a little bit of time.
That's the first thing to go, isn't
I'll
it?
be
usually?
honest.
First place that a first-time visitor to New York City should go.
Okay, when are they arriving?
Oh, now, let's
Okay,
say.
if they're coming now, I would say the first thing that they should do is go to the Museum of the City of New York.
Okay.
There is a truck driver who spent 20 years after working 5 a.m. to 5 p.m. every day and having dinner with his family. He would work for a few hours every night for 20 years.
It's time for the trucker John Livestream. Gonna be a good time. Oh yeah. The trucker John Livestream. Come along for a good time. It's a good time, good time, good time, good time. Trucker John Livestream. It's gonna be a good time. Gonna be the time of your life. Gonna talk some shit. Hush your mouth. Gonna talk a little smack. Gonna talk whatever comes of it. You're gonna always wanna come back. Well, yeah, it's the trucker John Livestream. He's the biggest, baddest, funniest mother you've ever seen. Watch your mouth, he's headed south. Not even sure what that means, but if it's one thing I know, the trucker John Livestream is the best thing you've ever seen.
Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning, everybody. I am so sorry for that late start. I know I was supposed to start at 9. Good morning. About an hour and a half ago. But I could not sleep last night. I had a sleepless night, which is rare for me. You know, I kind of brag about how I can, as soon as my head hits the pillow, I'm out, and that's usually the case. But last night I had another one of those sleepless nights, where I don't think I fell asleep until like after 5 in the morning. You know, one of those deals, and you keep looking at the clock. So and my alarm was set for like 7, so I could get up and make the intro. And I was in no shape to get up, so I ended up sleeping in, and I did come in and I wrote a message. I don't know, like 8:30 or 8:45, and when I said, "Hey, I'm going to push the start time back to 10," I'm still a little groggy. So, DPD, what's on your mind? I think it's just financial stuff. A lot of financial stuff going on, and probably like a lot of Americans now. I mean, I'm sure I'm not the only one who's having sleepless nights, wondering, as inflation keeps going up, people wondering how they're going to pay for their rent or their mortgage, their health care, how they're going to put food on the table for their kids. And fortunately, I'm single, and my kids are all grown up, and I'm, so they're doing well. But I just, it's just financial stuff, I guess. It's just on my mind, and I just couldn't sleep, just thinking about stuff. So, but anyhow, I'm awake now. I'm woke, and want to come on and say hi to everybody, and hope you had a great weekend. I know this is Memorial Day weekend, but we can still say I hope you had a good weekend, um, and a good holiday weekend, and we can do both. Like I've said in the last show, we can walk and chew gum at the same time. We can have a good time, good time, and we can still honor the fallen. And that is a somber moment. I'm not trying to say it's not. It is a somber moment, but we can also have a good time, and I hope so. I hope you guys had a good time for the weekend. Anyhow, make sure you hit that hype button if you guys find the hype button. Usually, I think it is not on the live streams. I think it is on the replays and the videos. Make sure you like, subscribe, and share. I think, according to my little um, graphic there, we're at 4,464 last time I checked. On our way to 5,000 subs. 5,000. Guess it's the 5K Hennessy Day. Anyhow, thanks for being here. Oh, anyhow, so it's 10:32. For some reason, the weather thing's not loading. It says it's 84. I guess that's accurate. I don't know. I don't know. I think everything did a big update or something. I think I just noticed my water. I didn't bring my water over. Let me go grab my water real quick. I got my water. I'm not going to get into arguments about the plastic. I don't give a fuck what anybody thinks. And I'm just not having my morning coffee, so here's my morning coffee. Cheers. To everyone. But anyhow, it's 10:33. It's about 80. It's about 85 degrees. It did finally load. Okay, so 85 degrees. We have a expected high of 91. So that's coming down a little bit from the past few days. Overnight low of 65. Let me shut this off here. And yeah, it's been a little warm. It was a good weekend. Lots of people were here. I've been doing this is my 4th year in a row that I've either been doing rideshare or taxi cab driving. And I would say Memorial Day weekend seems to be, if not the busiest weekend of the year, it's certainly one of them. And I think this seems to be the busiest weekend of the year, Memorial Day weekend. It's sort of the unofficial kickoff of summer. It's warm. Everyone comes here. So, and this was a pretty busy weekend. But I would say it's a little down from the last 3 years. Everything's a little bit down. And understandably so, when we have this shit stain here as president. This is our leader, glorious leader, who is taking a pretty good economy that was handed to him, and again, destroying it. 2022. I started. No, I guess 2023 I think 2023 was my first year of doing rideshare. I started in the end of January of 2023. So I had the whole year of 2023, 2024, and in 2023, Vegas was crazy. that was really the first full year of coming out of the pandemic. People were out and about. People were coming to town, and they were breaking all kinds of new records for tourism. 2024 was almost just as good. It was slightly down from 2023, I believe. I'm just off the top of my head. I'm not using stat. I'm not Googling it. I don't have the stats in front of me. But 2023, 2024 were gangbusters. Absolute gangbusters. 2025, I noticed things were cooling. Were a little bit off, and by the time we got certainly through April, May, June, you could definitely see that things were a little bit slower. Now that doesn't mean that there wasn't any people here. People were coming here, plenty of business. I started doing the cab driving, was getting plenty of rides, but it's just been gradually getting worse and worse and worse. Now here we are in 2026, and again, it was busy. I was busy driving the cab, had plenty of rides, all that good stuff. But it was noticeably, just through the naked eye. I'm not looking at labor stats or not labor stats, but economic stats. I don't know, but just by my eye test, it was a little bit lower than the past 3 years that I've been doing Memorial Day. That I've been working Memorial Day. Lots of people here. We're here for the BTS concert. Lots of people here just to see all the sites. So much stuff going on. No Doubt was at the Sphere. It was kind of funny. Blake Shelton was playing Caesar's Palace, and Blake Shelton and Gwen Stefani are, I don't know if they're married or just boyfriend and girlfriend, but it's kind of funny. They're both playing in Vegas at the same time. I mean, anyhow, but lots of people here. Lots of people were here, but you could just tell it was not as busy as previous years. So, and I think Vegas is kind of like a bellwether. It's an indicator of what's going on. If we're seeing less tourism, I think that's an indicator of things not going very well economically for the country. So anyhow, let me just say hello to some folks here. You guys, I know Brooklyn SJU was the first one in here. Probably took off because Brooklyn doesn't like to wait. But I'm sorry, but thanks for being here. I appreciate you. Mr. Spock was here. Oh, the Fowler. Mr. Spock the Fowler was here. Rob Hawkins. Hello, Rob Hawkins. Hi, I'm Rob. Hi, Rob. Haven't seen you in here before. Thanks for coming in. I appreciate you. Make sure you like, subscribe, and share. If you could do that, that'd be pretty awesome. Michelle's here. Michelle says the Republicans in Congress are as bad as Trump. Oh, yeah. You got that right, Michelle. You sure got that right. Aaron West is here. Hey, Aaron, good to see you. Thanks for being here. Mod extraordinaire. MJ Daniel says the Republican Congress lifts the tail and kisses the orange ass. Petrazi's here. Hey, Petrazi, good to see you. Thanks for coming on in. The Santa Elf. Or as I like to say, Santa's Elf. I don't know. Santa's Elf. Santa's Elf. Basantha, good to see you. Thanks for coming on in. Mad Mac is here. Slava Ukraini, Mad Mac. Slava Ukraini. Josh C. is always good to see Josh C. is in the chat. Josh says hello from a theater basement. Josh C. is down in the basement there. of the theater. In the theater. You can tell everyone, I'm working in the theater. It's the basement, but it's the theater. And you cannot say theater. It has to be theater. I'm in the theater today. I'm working in the theater. That way it sounds fancy. MJ Daniel, Dave's not here. Let me in, man. Let me in. Who is it, man? It's Dave. Let me in. Dave's not here. No, man. I'm Dave. Let me in. What? Let me in, man. It's Dave. Dave's not here, man. End scene. Good old Cheech and Chong. Don't you love Cheech and Chong? Anna Moore is here. Says hello, TJ and fellow loungers. It's good to see everyone in the chat. Well, it's good to see you, Anna Moore. Thanks for being here. I appreciate you. I do. I really, really do. DPD 5844 is here. Are you still in Vegas, DPD? Are you probably heading back? Sorry we weren't able to get together. I was just working and truth be told, I did not work yesterday. I was just tired and I didn't have the energy and I just lounged around. Maybe that's another reason why I couldn't sleep, because I kind of did the thing, the old person thing, where I took these little cat naps or whatever, and then I don't know. I'm all screwed up. I'm just screwed up now. Why does Josh want to watch with the sound off? You can't hear my beautiful voice if you do that. If you're going to listen with the sound off, then unless you're a really good lip reader, I could just say all kinds of bad things about you right now. Josh. What would be a great pay-per-view? What did I miss? Did I skip something? Oh, is that a pic of TJ sleeping? Well, you think I look like Trump? I mean, I know I'm not looking that great these days. You think I look like Trump? My God. I need to do something about that. I got to do something about that. Wow. Oh, the pay-per-view. Oh, you're talking about like in the video where the AI slop that has Colbert throwing Trump into the dumpster, because Trump made one of him throwing Colbert into the dumpster. So someone made the opposite thing. I thought it was rather clever how I put together real footage with the AI slop on that one. Really clever of me. So clever. Good old clever Trucker John. You know, it might be a bad time when I'm going third person. I'm going third person. Mad Max says, well done, JoJo. Yeah, JoJo, she's always stellar. She's always on point, and really doesn't hold back, and made some great points and observations about how Trump really does not give a fuck. Really doesn't give a fuck about the 13 dead or any other dead. Doesn't really. He's a sociopath. We got a sociopath in the White House. Remember that Victoria Jackson? If you don't know who she is, she used to be on SNL. She was always sort of like the ditzy blonde. And then remember when Obama became president, I believe? She made a little song. It was like, what was her, what was her song? Like, I think it was, "We got a communist in the White House" or something. Fuck you, Victoria Jackson. What is it with all these former SNLs that turn out to be just total fucking maggots? And at that time, I guess she would be a Tea Partier or something. But there was her. Is it Rob Schneider? Is an asshole. Jim Brewer. He's former SNL. He's a total nutbag. Joe Piscopo is another one, and I always liked Joe Piscopo. He's another one that's right wing nut job. But not Will Ferrell. Will Ferrell on SNL did he played Jeffrey Epstein. And so what does Trump do? What the fuck who the fuck does Trump think he is? He does think he's a fucking king. What fuck you, Trump? So on SNL, Will Ferrell, they have a little skit, where he plays Jeffrey Epstein, and I guess that was the cold open or whatever. I don't know, but and it was kind of funny, and of course it's just bringing attention to Jeffrey Epstein and Trump and the files and everything. And Trump comes out and is like, Will Ferrell should be, I think, didn't he say he should be in prison or something? I forget now, but it's just, fuck you, Donald Trump. You're disgusting and you're stupid. And I saw this meme, I guess. I saw this here, and it just reminded me of the song that I made the other day, last week or 2 weeks ago. And it's like, so I guess she's a gypsy lady or fortune teller. I don't know. It says, "You will die on a great holiday." And he says, "Really? Which one?" And she says, "Any day you die will become a great holiday." Yeah, fuck you, Trump. We're so sick of you. We are so sick and tired of you. You know what, Trump? You have made us, it's like most of us, I'm pretty sure most of us people in this chat room, and I think in the country, we don't go around wishing death on anyone or looking forward to someone dying. We just don't do that. We really don't. For the most part, right? But man, I'm telling you, I think so many of us are looking forward to just being rid of you. And nature will take its course. But come on, nature, hurry it up, because we are so sick and tired of you. That's what it is. We're not wishing. No one wants to wish death on somebody. That's like bad karma. But we just, we've come to the point where we have had enough of you. We've had you up to here. Up to here. We're sick and tired of your fucking bullshit, and we cannot wait until you are gone. And that's just the way it is, Trumpy. If you don't like it, tough shit. And I do not look like Donald Trump. I know I don't look great. Please, Lord God, don't. I don't need that curse. Turn up the volume, Josh. You're missing my A material. I did Cheech and Chong, for crying out loud. You're not gonna listen to that? DPD Andy Kim rocks. Yeah, and I thought I had video of him being sprayed, and I was trying to edit that, and I got the interview that interview with Andy Kim. For the that don't know, he was the Asian guy. He's I guess a House rep, and you can see on his suit it was kind of all dusty. That's because he had just been pepper sprayed by the fucking prison ICE guards because he was there to see the facilities and see the deplorable treatment of the ICE detainees. That was Andy Kim. Didn't Andy Kim, not this same Andy Kim, but wasn't there the singer? Wasn't there a singer, Andy Kim? Like, was that like the 70s or something? It wasn't like Rock Me Baby. What was that song? Come on, Josh, you should know this. What was it like Andy Kim? I think Andy Kim, there was a different Andy Kim who had probably a one-hit wonder. It was something like Rock Me Baby. Mad Mac, right on, Miss Plaskett. Miss Plaskett is the one who was it dressing down fucking Besant? Oh God, I can't stand that guy. He talk about punchable faces. Doesn't that Besant motherfucker just have the most punchable fucking face you've ever seen? Oh my God, what a fucking turd! That is it Scott Besant or whatever? Todd Besant? Todd. I don't know. Besant. This fucking entitled, privileged motherfucker. And Plaskett there, wasn't she like? You're like, oh my God. Just think if she was doing the mother. That's that's how she has talked to her kids, and said, look, in this house, we have rules, and you follow our rules. She gave that talk to her kids, and she was doing it to Besant because Besant is a fucking this entitled rich prick who needs to be talked to like a child. In her very matter of fact and business-like way, she basically told him to shut the fuck up when I'm talking. This is my time. You don't take my time. I loved it. It really didn't have much to do with the whole, because most of the intro was sort of Memorial Day stuff or stuff that happened over the weekend. And that I don't even know when that hearing was. I don't even know. I just saw it. I was like, this has got to go in. Just to sit there and watch that motherfucker squirm. Sit there and squirm as he's being given the riot act there, DPD says, looks like Sanders and Plattner are stirring up some good trouble. And that's another one. I was rushing the clip. I was rushing the intro. So that's in reference to the crowd was cheering, and Plattner and Bernie Sanders were walking on stage there, and but I had a little clip of, and I don't know what happened to it, man. I don't know. I was kind of rushing myself, and I was losing my clips, but about Plattner is doing really well in the polls there in Maine. And I know this is really, really early. I hate to get out. I hate to get out over my skis here or whatever, but a lot of people are already projecting him to win, or at least in the polls, he's winning over Susan Collins, the Republican. And look, I hope Plattner wins. I know he's got all this checkered past, the Nazi tattoo and some things that he has said and all this kind of stuff. But I think he's a good guy. And I know, I've said before that the worst Democrat is better than the best Republican, and I don't think Plattner is the worst Democrat, and Collins, I don't think she's actually maybe the worst Republican, but if we can get that seat, I think that'd be great. I got the TV playing. I got the reflection there, but anyhow, I think it would be great if we could unseat Susan Collins, get her out of there. She's a mess. She is really terrible, and I don't see Graham Plattner being any worse than what they got there. And I actually think that I think he'll be a good guy, unless he just turns out to be a total turncoat. But In which case, you know, it still wouldn't be any worse than having Susan Collins in there. So, Michelle says that is Lee, Politics Girl. Yep, that was Politics Girl. All right, sure was. And I didn't know about that appointment that she was talking about of those 4 like CTOs of those tech companies. In our military, who just got appointed to just under being generals, I guess, right? I mean, yeah, what the fuck? Like Mad Max says, what the fuck? Politics Girl hitting it spot on. Animor says, you and me both, DVD, about 6 feet under. I swear every day it's a crisis with this mofo. We are just so sick and tired of you, Trump. We are so sick and tired of you. We really, really are. So don't cry, Trump, when we don't cry for you. Wayne is here. Slava Ukraini. Slava Ukraini. Rob Hawkins is back. My spidey senses are tingling, Aaron. My spidey senses are tingling, Aaron. If you're out there still. Mad Max says we're gonna have, because I know I'm behind in the chat, so I don't know. And yeah. Mad Max says we're gonna have to change your name, Trigger John, to Slacker John. Oh, I like I have never been late in my life. I'm sorry, man. You know, I just could not do the show at 9. I was in no shape. I'm barely in any condition to do it right now, but I'm awake. MJ Daniel, big baby, what are you? Some kind of old fart? I am some kind of old fart. Michelle says try melatonin for those sleepless nights. Well, I've always heard of that. My sleepless nights are so few and far between that, you know, I never even think about buying anything like that. So, speaking of the sleepless nights, Mad Max says, I have those kinds of nights frequently. I have some sleeping earbuds that I listen to podcast stories. I set the sleeper timer for 1 hour, and I am out within 15 minutes. That works for me. David Weiss, I like sleep gummies, like wild elderberry. Anna Moore says, Trump is a legend in his own mind. Mad Max says the one thing that the Orange Pedo is good for doing is bankruptcy. He's going to do that for the USA if we don't stop him now. That is his MO. That definitely is his MO. Where he's filed, 6 or 7 times for bankruptcy or some shit. And that's why all these people that say, we need a leader that will run the country like a business. You mean like Donald Trump runs his businesses? Runs them into the ground, files bankruptcy? That's his, that's his style. That's his MO. And people say he's dumb for doing that. I don't know if he's dumb. Liberal Dan has talked about this. I don't know if it has anything to do with dumb. I think he is dumb. But his filing for bankruptcies, and I think that's a dumb way to run businesses, but I think that is it's intentional. Because he has no morals. He has no ethics. So I think it's a part of his business plan is, when he's running businesses, is to just file bankruptcy. That's and there are business people that do that. There are lots that don't. How many times has Mark Cuban filed for bankruptcy? I would say zero. I haven't Googled it. I would say zero. How many times has any of these Jeff Bezos, Elon Musk? How many times have they filed for bankruptcy? I would say probably zero. I've never heard of them. What's the other guy? I keep forgetting his name. The old guy. Warren Zevon. Why do I always want to call him Warren Zevon? Warren Plattner, or whatever his name is. How many times has he filed bankruptcy? I don't think so. There are lots of very successful. If we're talking about success in terms of net worth or whatever, there are plenty of people, and even people we've never heard of that would be considered successful, multimillionaires and billionaires and things, that have never filed for bankruptcy. But there are people that is their modus operandi of business. And I understand filing for bankruptcy. I filed for bankruptcy one time, but it's because I am stupid and bad with my money. And that's been 30 years ago or longer. But in any case, but there are some people that is part of their business plan. And I think it's a stupid business plan. So if you want to call Donald Trump stupid, I think that you're not wrong. But just know that his filing of all these bankruptcies, I think that's his idea of being smart. Because I think he said that in one of those debates with Hillary Clinton. I think she was bringing up the bankruptcies, and when he was walking around, kind of hovering around her back and forth and looking over her and everything, and she was talking about how these bankruptcies were dumb or whatever, and he goes, "No, it's smart." He thinks it's a smart way to operate. And now he's doing the same thing to the country, which is what basically all Republicans do. They if not actually bankrupting us, they certainly do run up debts and deficits way more than Democrats do. We spend all our time cleaning up after their messes. And we're just sick and tired of it. I hope we're sick and tired of it. I hope enough of us are sick and tired of it that we have this big, huge blue wave in November, and it carries on. Like I've said, we can't be doing this swinging back and forth pendulum bullshit. We need to take control of the House and the Senate, the White House, for the next 50 years. So we can get good, steady progress. To get off of fossil fuel, bring in good renewable energy, get off of the fossil fuel teat. Tell Saudi Arabia and Iran, we can truly tell them to go fuck themselves if we don't have to be dependent on oil. And we can tell the big fossil fuel companies to go fuck themselves too. Mobil, Exxon, you've made trillions of dollars over the life of your company. Very good. Congratulations. Now you can go retire. You can retire your fucking companies. DPD says, I had a lovely weekend and I didn't fall asleep at the concert. The kiddos enjoyed it and I was able to get my groove thing on. I didn't embarrass my daughter or her friends. Well, I'm glad you had a good time. I didn't actually take anyone. I didn't get any rides to the concert, but I did have quite a few people that I picked up that we talked, and that they were here for the BTS concert, just like you, traveled from all over the country. Everybody says, sorry, missed you. Well, maybe you'll come out again, or maybe I'll go out there. I don't know. Who knows? Don O'Leary's here. Hello, Don. Good to see you. Trucker John, hello again. I love your intros. Thank you so much, Don. I appreciate that. I do put time into it, just so you know. I know today was only a 13-minute and something intro, and sometimes they're 20 or 25 minutes. I do put a fair amount of work into that. DVD, they are married. Oh yeah, so Blake and Gwen, yeah, and they're both in town, or at least they were. They may be gone now. I think. I don't know if No Doubt has more. I think No Doubt does have some more dates in June. So, and Blake might still be playing at Caesars. Rob Hawkins says Trump needs to stop cutting funds for health insurance. Trump and his Republican sycophants. That's why we need to. That's why we need to do this, y'all. Come on, my setup here is so frustrating. It's so frustrating. There. Had enough? Vote every Republican out of office. That's why we need to vote every Republican out of office. Because they are doing dumb shit things like getting rid of healthcare subsidies, raising costs, raising Medicare costs, raising all that shit. It's horrible. It truly is horrible. That's why we need to get rid of these Republicans. They have demonstrated that they cannot govern and that they do not give a shit about you and me. They really don't give a shit. They are taken care of. They have great health care in Congress. Of course, all the millionaires and billionaires, they can self-insure. They have enough money. They don't even need insurance, really. If you were Jeff Bezos, would you have health insurance? I mean, why have health insurance? You could buy the fucking hospital. You could buy all the doctors and nurses. You could buy all the equipment. You could buy all the medicine. No matter what horrible disease or something that you might get, if you were Jeff Bezos or Elon Musk or Warren Buffett, I finally remembered his fucking name, you don't need insurance at that point. So they don't give a fuck about insurance. These out-of-touch pricks. So we need to get rid of them. We need to get money out of Congress. We gotta stop being beholden to these big healthcare industries and all these industries. We need 50 years of Republican majorities. And that's my opinion. And I'm sticking to it. That's my story. Roseanne 21 says we are all screwed up. We are all screwed up. DBD says went to BTS concert, and TJ we're back home. Got back home last night. Well, I'm glad you had a good time at the BTS concert. It's not my thing. I'm not into K-pop, and to me, they're just sort of like they're like a Korean boy band. And I was never into Backstreet Boys or NSYNC or any of that. And to me, they're just a version of that. But to each their own. And I'm glad you guys had a good time. Michelle says TJ doesn't look like Trump, but that is funny. John Glad. Always glad to see John Glad in the chat. It says just effing hi. Bad Max says I rode almost 500 miles with my motorcycle club on Saturday. The weather was beautiful and we rode hard. It was a great trip. Nice. That sounds like a great time. I've been trying to think about getting a vehicle, getting a car. Then I was kind of looking at motorcycles. And I'm old. I'm 65. I have not really ridden a motorcycle in decades. I had I did have a Kawasaki 750 LTD at one time. Really nice cruiser. Pretty nice little cruiser, you know. And I would take it up. I lived down in the desert, but we had the mountains, you know, real close, pretty close by. And I really loved taking my bike out on a cruise up to the mountains. It was really nice, really fun. Took it to the beach a few times, cruised the beach, you know, just cruising around town. But that was the 80s. That's 40 years ago. And since then, I'm trying to think if I've ever ridden since I got rid of that bike. I've always gone through vehicles, cars, a few motorcycles. And I'm thinking of all the cars and vehicles I've had. I wish I had just one of those motherfuckers right now. I've had so many cars, so many trucks, a few motorcycles, a couple motorcycles. I think that was the last one. That was in 1986, I think, when I had that. I'm trying to think if I don't think I've had, and if I've ever ridden anything. I know. Trying to think, I had some friends with motorcycles. I'm trying to think if I even got on one of theirs or not, but I don't think I've ridden a motorcycle since 1986. If I have, I don't even remember. I don't remember. So to get on a bike now at 65, and I'm not in the best of shape. You know, I'm afraid I might be a little wobbly on it or something. I'm not sure if I feel confident, but I don't have any problems getting an e-bike, which is, you're talking something that goes 20 miles an hour as opposed to something that can go, you know, 60, 70, 80, 90 or whatever. But I'm back to maybe getting an e-bike. And I know, because we've talked about that, I've gone back and forth on that. Now I'm back to thinking maybe I will get an e-bike instead of a car. So I don't know. Not sure how I got on. Oh, that was because Mad Mac had the 500 miles. And that does sound cool, though. That does sound really fun. DPD, that cold open was fantastic. Yeah, the Will Ferrell one. And of course, Trump didn't like it, and he comes out and says Will Ferrell should be in prison or something. It's like, fuck you, Trump. Who the fuck do you think you are? Who in the fuck do you think you are, man? Roseanne's so sick and tired. Yeah, we're just so sick and tired of you, Trump. We're so sick and tired of you, and you've just done so much harm to this country. You've got so much blood on your hands, Trump. So much blood on your hands. At this point, I think it's millions of people that Donald Trump is responsible for those lives ending prematurely and unnecessarily. Yeah, we're so sick of him. Um, yeah, we're all just sick of this guy. And more people are kind of coming to our side, I think. His poll numbers are just, you think how much lower can go, and they're continuing to sink. James Aramilo's here. Hey, James, good to see you. Thanks for coming in from Southern Colorado. Mad Mac, yeah, she ripped that moron a new one. Talking about Bassett, he does have a punchable face. Yeah, he's that because I think the guy's a billionaire. I think, right, and he just thinks that because he has that money that somehow makes him above everybody else. And motherfucker, you're not above anybody. Fuck you. You got more money, but that don't mean shit. Don't mean shit to me. Mad Mac, I met Andy Gibb before he died. He was doing a promo tour. No, Andy Kim. There's an Andy Kim that had a song. Not Andy Gibb. There was an Andy Kim. Yes, there's this Victor Harshman. Andy Kim saying "Rock Me Gently." There it was. Yeah, "Rock Me Gently." Yeah. Thank you, Victor Harshman. Mad Max says I met Andy Gibb before he died. He was doing a promo tour for his new album, and one of the stops was my record store. I got a signed album from him. That's cool. And that's a sad story. You know, he was still a young guy when he died. I think still in his 30s, wasn't he? And just had a really bad drug addiction, I guess. Right? Did he die of an overdose or somehow drug related? I think. And very sad. Oh, Dennis Miller. Yeah, that's another one. Don O'Leary, another SNL former cast member that turned out to be a real douchebag. And I like Dennis Miller. I thought he was really funny. His the news things he did on SNL, and he turns out to be a douche nozzle. Hello, William. William is here. Good to see you. Thanks for popping on in. Oh, thanks for popping on in. Mad Max is laughing out loud. My daughter takes delivery of her new Kia Telluride on Friday. Speaking of Telluride, which is where Rosanna 21 used to live near Durango and Telluride. I've driven through Durango, cutting across there from I-25, and then you cut across. Forget the highway, but it cuts across. And then if you keep going, and you end up basically at four corners. New Mexico, Arizona, Colorado. What's the fourth corner? Utah? I guess is it Utah? Yeah, Utah? I guess it's Utah? Is it Utah, Colorado, New Mexico, Arizona? Yeah. If you keep on going through there. I believe, if I'm remembering right. I know Durango is quite a few miles. I mean, it's away, but I'm just saying when you cut across from I-25 and you're going west on that highway there. You'll go through Durango, and if you keep on going, eventually you're going to get down into Four Corners, and then from there you'll get into like Monument Valley and all that. Very, very pretty, actually. All the big rock formations and stuff. Now Durango is not. That's more. Durango's a little more foresty. It's not down in. If that's what I don't. If I made it sound like that, Anyhow, Richard from Down Under is here. Richard says Trump should have been behind bars long ago. Absolutely, 100%, Richard, 100%. Mad Max says, yeah, it was pretty cool. It was more for fans, of course, but I did get to see him up close and personal. Also, Kim Carnes, too. She was hot. Was she Betty Davis Eyes? Who did Betty Davis Eyes? Was it Kim Carnes? Why am I thinking of somebody else did Betty Davis Eyes? But Kim Carnes, I think I remember her being a hottie. Rosanna 21 says, James Cutie Armio, I just sold my house in New York and I'm moving to Northern California near Napa Valley. Wow, nice. That's beautiful country. Are you going to have your own little vineyard? Are you going to have a vineyard? Are we going to get some Rosanna 21 wine? Richard says, Bone Spurs, Trump called veterans suckers and losers. Yeah. And he said that, and he believed it then, and he believes it now. No matter what, no matter how he might try to lead you to believe. Donald Trump still thinks that war veterans are just suckers and losers. DPD says they are all bad, TJ. How they continue to vote for Collins is beyond me. Collins has refused to attend any town hall meetings with her constituents for over 20 years. For over 20 years, and that biatch still got reelected. Well, I'm really, really hoping that this is the year that she loses. We flip that seat blue. Let's give Plattner a chance. If he turns out to be a turd, then we'll just primary his ass, just like we're going to primary Fetterman. You know? Rosanna 21, James Cutie, but I absolutely adored Colorado. I lived in Aspen in the early 70s. I had two ladies in my cab over the weekend who were from Aspen. So there you go. Richard says, I'm an old fart, 78 years old. You're an old fart. I'm an old fart. We're all old farts. Let's be old farts together. Rob Hawkins CPAP machine. Why did you bring that up? Because I do use a CPAP machine. It's funny that you would bring that up. It's not how it's spelled, but nevertheless. Richard reminds us that Trump is a convicted felon. Yes, he is. He is. And I think he should be in prison. John Glad says, while his corporations failed, he made out good. Yeah, it's all part of that sort of vulture capitalism type of thing that Mitt Romney was so good at. You know, where you just suck everything out of the companies that you can. You get all the assets, you liquefy it, and then you let the company die. It's vulture capitalism. Richard says, art of the deal BS. Yeah, you're right, Richard. That's part of the deal. Chapter 7, filing Chapter 7. Or whatever, I don't know. Yes, Richard, Warren Buffett. Yes, thank you, Warren Buffett. Yeah, I finally remembered. I think I like Warren Zevon better than Warren Buffett. Although Warren Buffett, I guess, is one of the good ones. Or at least not quite as despicable as the other billionaires. Warren Buffett, I think, seems to be an okay guy, I guess, but you know, he's no Jeff Bezos or Elon Musk. Elon Musk is just so. Elon Musk disgusts me, and I know, like I said, I was kind of a Elon Musk fanboy. 10 years ago, before Trump, I was all on board with Elon Musk. I thought he was really bright, innovative, edgy, on the edge, thinking outside the box, all this kind of shit. And I've loved Teslas. I was driving Teslas, and I still think Teslas are a great car. I really do, but I'm not going to buy one. If I get the money to buy a car, I'm not going to buy a fucking Tesla. I might buy a used one, though. I might buy a used Tesla if I could, but I'm not buying a new one. And the only reason, buying a used Tesla is then you got to drive the thing around, and people, like, oh. I mean, it's kind of like promoting Teslas, even if it's used. And I don't want to promote Tesla. There are plenty of other great EVs out there now. Even the little Chevy Bolt I was driving last year I guess it was last year. Was a great car, and they've got a new. They just came out with kind of a new reimagined Volt or whatever you're gonna call it, and I've seen some videos of that, and I would take a Chevy Bolt because I like EVs, and I really love Teslas, I really did, but fuck you, Elon Musk, you fucked that up, you fucking Nazi. And if you're gonna be a Nazi, then I'm not gonna buy your shit, okay? That's rule number 1. So all you billionaires out there, Don't be Nazis. Mad Max says, I'm excited to see it in detail. All I saw was online, so I'll check out those swivel seats when she gets it. Oh, that's the new Telluride. She's driving a 2007 Toyota van, so she deserves something nice now. Oh, yeah, she's got a lot of use out of that van, 2007. The Tellurides. I've seen those around. Those look really nice, yeah. Those big old Tellurides. MJ Daniel says the last time the U.S. had a Republican president businessman who enacted tariffs was Hoover. How did that work out? I don't know, but we got a dam that was named after him. So we got that. Chicken in every pot. Was that Hoover who said that? Who said that? That might have been Roosevelt. I don't know. Mad Max says watched a very strange series called The Burrows on Netflix. Only saw the first 3 episodes, but it sure keeps you watching. The Burrows, is that about New York boroughs? Like the Bronx and the other one that starts with a B? Brooklyn, I guess? Is it Brooklyn? Brooklyn SJU? Is that you? Are you a borough? Roseanne says, James Cutie, the altitude of 7,500 feet is not good for me anymore. I still own a home in Dolores, so I don't really want to sell it. It has a view of the mountains in 4 different states. Ah, look at there. Wow. So talking about 4 corners. Do you remember, I remember driving along the highway and you could see this rock formation. I think on the way to Durango, maybe, if I'm remembering right. Wasn't it called like Chimney Rock or Stovepipe Rock or something? I just remember driving the freeway, and I think there's a sign that says like Stovepipe Rock or something, and then you look up and you see this big, like way up on the top of this mountain, you see this pointy thing, and it looks just like a chimney. Maybe it's called Chimney Rock or whatever. And I'm like, wow, yeah, I see I see how they got that name for that rock. Anyhow. MJ Daniel says the period between FDR and Carter was pretty damn good for the USA. We had our biggest, I think, economic growth, this steady growth through most of that time. We had some periods of, mainly when we had, Nixon and we had Republicans in there, we would have some, recessions and shit. But for the most part, yeah, it was a golden era. And we had mainly, even if there were Republican presidents, I think we had a lot of times where we still had the majorities in Congress. Big Hook is here. The Big Canuck. Hello, Big Hook. Good to see you. He says, adjust your rabbit ears to get a better picture. Bob LeBlanc is here. Hey, Bob. Good to see you. I haven't seen Bob LeBlanc in a long time. Thanks for popping in. I appreciate it. Thanks for popping on in. IB YouTubing is here. Hey, IB YouTubing. Runoff Texas election is today. Just came from voting. Howdy, TJ community. Is that also, I guess so you said that was the runoff Texas election. Is that the, is it Cornyn and Paxton? Did they have to have the runoff or something like that? If you want to talk a little bit more about that, that would be great. But I do have another meme regarding Texas, and I thought this was pretty interesting. According to this meme, here's a poll for the governor race, where the Democrat Gina Hinojosa is leading Greg Abbott 53.6 to 46.4. That is, what is that, 7.2 lead? 7.2 lead? Percent lead? I thought, if this is true, I just saw the meme. So, you can't always trust memes. But I hope it's true. Could you imagine Texas going blue? If we could get the governor, and if Tellerico could take the Senate seat, that would at least make it purple, I think. Right? Wouldn't that be something? In Florida, it's your turn. Get rid of DeSantis. Put a Democrat in there. Big hook, big hook. Tax the billionaires, absolutely. But we won't be able to do that until we take back House, Senate, and the White House. Or if we get veto-proof numbers in Congress, and in Senate and stuff. If we can get veto-proof numbers, then I guess it wouldn't matter who's in the White House. But let's do this. Let's do this. DPD 5844 says another disturbing fact. Peter Thiel, apparently that's how you say it. Looks like Thiele. Peter Thiele apparently is pronounced Thiel. Peter Thiel is heavily investing in colossal biosciences that create synthetic wombs. Just what we need. Well, this got kind of crooked. I don't know. Did you see my shirt today? It's my trucker shirt. Anyhow, DPD says Peter Thiel is heavily investing in colossal biosciences that create synthetic wombs. They believe that vaginal births limit one's intelligence levels. What the fuck? These fucking billionaires, man. Where do they get this shit? My God. This is what happens when you got just too much goddamn money and you can sit around and think of this weird shit that they do, Search for You is here. Hey, Search for You. Good to see you. Guys, make sure you like, subscribe, and share. If you see a hype button, hit the hype button at some point. And just see, there we are at 4,464 subs. Let's get the 5,000 to get the 5K Hiddency Day. If you're watching on the replay, make sure you drop a comment in the comment and let us know you were here. And I'm going to mess with my camera. I know I shouldn't do this because it usually ends up in disaster. But it just didn't look right to me. I don't know. I am looking like Trump. Shit. I feel like I'm totally messing up the camera. Just leave it, John. Leave it. All right. It just looks all cockeyed and shit, but it's a phone, by the way. It's a camera phone. DBD says TJ Luckdragon was advertising for a vehicle in a previous post. I don't know if you were serious or not, but you should check it out. DPD Luckdragon has been saying for months now that he would give me his, I think, Lincoln Town car. And I said, okay, awesome. That sounds great. I appreciate that. Email me your contact information and we'll talk about this off the air. I'm not going to just go to Hayward. He lives in Hayward. I live in Las Vegas with no transportation. I would either have to get a plane ticket or a bus ticket or have my son come and pick me up or my daughter. And we'd have to drive to fucking Hayward, which is like 400 miles. So I'm like, dude, if you're serious, email me, contact me, let's talk. Give me the details. We'll set something up. I'll come and take that car off your hands. But I'm not going to do it just because of a post where he says, I'll give you my car. And then I tell him, okay. I call, I take him up on it, and then I never hear about it. I never hear from him. So he's got to email me, at least give me his phone. I would like to at least talk to him over the phone. And really make sure he's for real. I don't even know. You never know, right? He might not even be a real person. I think he is, but or he or she or they or whatever. But my email address. Hey, if fucking Sandy, what's her face? She found my email address. It's on my page. It's in there. It's I think Trucker John at Gmail or whatever. If that freaking psycho can figure out how to send me emails and shit, then I would think Luckdragon could. So I know all about his Lincoln Town car. He's mentioned it a dozen times. Oh, now the whole thing is falling over, guys. I told you I messed with it one time too many, I think. And I broke it's a plastic thing, and the thing where you tighten it, I accidentally broke it, and it's anyhow. Hopefully it'll stay now. But anyhow, so I know all about his Lincoln Town car. He's mentioned it many, many times. I've said, okay, dude, get a hold of me. Let's work it out. And but then he never does. So I can only, I can only do so much. I mean, I appreciate the offer. It's a great offer. Sounds like a great offer. He says the car is in great shape. It runs great. He says he says he'll give it to me. He wants it out of his driveway or whatever. I would be more than happy to take it off his hands. But I'm going to need to talk to the guy over the phone and really have some assurances that if I take the time and the expense to drive all the way there or fly there or whatever, that it's a legit deal. I don't want to go all the way to fucking Hayward and then find out he was just bullshitting me. You know what I mean? So there's risk involved with that. And I would feel like if I at least talked to him over the phone and he was very forthright and gave me his address and his phone number, and I mean, I got to have that shit. then I could feel, I would maybe feel it out and go, okay, I think this guy's for real, whatever. Or another thing I did look into, and this is months ago, because I'm telling you, this has been going on for months now. Like 2 or 3 months ago, where he made that offer, and I actually looked up instead of me flying there or taking a bus, that all costs money, right? If my kids drive me there, that costs money and gas. So I checked out a delivery, how much it would cost to have it delivered. So if I had his address and everything was he's got the title, he's going to sign it over, he's going to do all that shit, and I could send a flatbed or whatever it is over there. They will deliver it from Hayward to my fucking driveway right here in my apartment. And I forget what it was. They gave me an estimate to deliver it. I forget what it was. I don't really remember. It was less than $1,000 though. It was like, I think it was like $500 or $600 or something like that. I would rather do that than fly there or drive there and then find out that the guy is a flake or something. You know what I mean? So I would rather just, okay, talk to him. And he says, yeah, I'll give you the car. And I'd be like, fucking great, man. Thank you so much. Do whatever we need to do as far as signing over the paperwork. However we would figure that out. Maybe the delivery company knows how to do that shit to get the paperwork from him and all that kind of stuff. And then if they show up at his door and he's like, I'm not giving you the car. What are you talking about? Then at least we can just cancel the thing, and I don't have the expense of a plane ticket or paying for gas and all the time it takes to drive out there. I mean, it's a big thing. So, look, Dragon, if you're watching this, if you're listening to this, if you're for real about that car, Aaron, what's my email? Isn't it truckerjohn@gmail.com, I think, or whatever it is? Just fucking shoot me an email. Give me your phone number and we can talk about it over the phone. Easy peasy. But he never does it. See, he never does it. That's why I think he's full of shit and is a flake. And I might not ever get the car now because I just said that, but what am I supposed to do? He's been leading me on about this car for months. For months now. So what am I to think? Anyhow. .007 Kevin Troll Slayer. He's the one that sends those trolls on the run. That's like your own personal little, like, your walk-up. That's your walk-up tune there I just made for you. And yeah, .007 Kevin Troll Slayer says, Trump is no one. Trump thinks he's alive, but he really isn't. He's just a walking bag of who knows what. Speaking of Luck Dragon, with that question mark there. But that was probably appropriate. That was appropriate. Yeah, he's a walking bag of shit is what he is. Big Hook. Incompetence is the only consistent with Trump. Incontinence, that's Josh sees. Yeah, a little bit. Probably, I'm sure both. Incompetence and incontinence. Rob Hawkins, rest in peace. Andy Gibb. Yeah. Rest in peace. Who just died? Someone just died. Well, Kyle Busch died. Isn't that weird? Kyle Busch died apparently of. This is a NASCAR race car driver. For those of you that don't follow NASCAR, big time, one of the best, one of the top drivers for the past 20 years or so, I guess, or maybe longer. I think he started. He was. I think he was like 19 or something. And he was, I think, 40. Was he 41 or 46? Whatever. Just died the other day. Apparently, he got pneumonia, and then this thing called sepsis. I'm not a doctor. Doesn't sound good. I've heard sepsis before. I know it's not good. I think your organs start shutting down and shit like that. And he died at 40, whatever. Should not have died. And then I hear fucking Ojeda is in the hospital with pneumonia. And I'm like, what the fuck is going on with the pneumonia? I mean, I know pneumonia is not good, like if you're old, like really old, or if you're a little kid. I didn't know all these people are dying. And now Jenna's not dying. Apparently, he's okay. He's in the hospital. I don't know if he might be out by now. But what the fuck is going on with this pneumonia bullshit? So anyhow, hopefully a speedy recovery to Ojeda. I hope you get well soon. And thoughts and prayers to the Kyle Busch family. It's pretty awful that he died like that. Really, kind of still in the prime of his race car driving. He just won a Cup Series, truck race a week before he died. But somebody else just died. Who else just died? Because I remember saying rest in peace to someone who just died. I don't remember. Someone other than Kyle Busch just died. That was, I guess, a celebrity, and I can't remember now. MJ Daniel says, I think Miller was funny on SNL mostly because of the writers like Al Franken. Yeah, I guess I didn't think about that, about how much if he wrote his own material or how much the writers wrote that and stuff. So maybe he was just really good, really funny at reading those lines that were written for him. Michelle says if Ebola comes to America, it will be devastating. Yeah, because Trump will not handle it right. And God, oh my God, we've got RFK Jr. heading the CDC. What could go wrong? What could possibly go wrong? We've got the two biggest fucking knuckleheads and idiots and morons in charge with Trump and RFK Jr. What could possibly go wrong? Mad Max says Besant and that a-hole from that show where someone pitches their idea. Yeah, the Shark Tank, I think, or something. To four rich mofos are two punchable faces. Who's that? Yeah, Kevin. Yeah. Kevin. Kevin Punchface. I forget his name too. I think he has the nickname. Is it like Mr. Nice Guy or Mr. Likeable or Mr. Some shit? Yeah, he's an asshole. Barry Manilow has lung cancer. Yes, I believe he might be back to performing because he took time off for that. I'm not sure. I'm not 100% sure, but he might be back or coming back. IB YouTubing says, any thoughts on Ashley St. Clair, Musk's ex-girlfriend and mom to one of his kids, discussing that Musk had election data and used Starlink to manipulate election to Trump's benefit. Now, I have not heard everything, apparently. I heard her read the email that was from Musk to her where he said, I have space lasers, something about I have space lasers pointed down at Earth or something like that. So all this other stuff about election data and Starlink, I mean, I don't know. I just recall the thing about space lasers. I guess that's what he means by Starlink. I don't know. I'll have to look into that more, IB YouTubing, but the parts that I heard, I think were incredibly vague and not as earth-shattering as I think even she made it to be. I think she's trying to get clicks. She's just in it for the clicks. But I'll have to look more into what she actually has said. Mad Max says, I love Barry Manilow. I named my daughter Mandy from his song. Oh, that's so cute. That's so sweet. Mad Max says, yes, Betty Davis Eyes is Kim Carnes. Okay. Okay. Who was I thinking of? I was thinking of not Bonnie Raitt, because I know she does Let's Give Them Something to Talk About. But then there's another chick. Oh, wait. Let's see, Betty Davis Eyes. Wait, Betty Davis Eyes. But then there's another song by this other chick that I was thinking of. I can't remember, but yeah, okay. But Betty Davis Eyes, that's a cool song. Yeah, Kim Carnes was hot. DBD says, you're correct, TJ. It was Kim Carnes. Don O'Leary says, speaking of Al Franken, I said, speaking of Al Franken, but Don O'Leary says, Al Franken on vacation. I miss him, and my best wishes to Keith Olbermann. Did something happen to Keith Olbermann? Has he got pneumonia or something? Is he sick? Yeah, Kim Carnes, Betty Davis Eyes. I'm thinking of another song about that time, about that when that came out. Or let's see, there was Betty Davis Eyes. I don't know what I'm thinking of. I'm thinking of somebody else who had another song. Mad Max, 34 times a felon, rapist, and pedo. Yeah, Donald Trump should be behind bars. He really should be. It really is perplexing. Like, how could this motherfucker be the president? This motherfucker is the president. This motherfucker. This motherfucker is the president. 34-time convicted felon. Convicted of sexual assault. Grab him by the pussy. All that shit. And he's the fucking president? And the people that elected him are the same ones that had a conniption fit when Obama wore a tan suit? Fuck you. You fuckers. You stupid motherfuckers. Look at this. Look at this. Motherfuckers want to talk shit about Obama, even people on our own side, and that's what makes me angry. Even people on our own side, even lefties and liberals and Democrats will talk shit about Obama. Here's the meme. We suffered for 8 years under Barack Obama, they said. And the stock market tripled. Auto industry was saved. Remember that? Auto industry was about to go under. Bin Laden was eliminated. Millions of people got health care thanks to Obamacare. Jobs and deficits improved. Unemployment went down. Wages went up. The deficit went down. He didn't quite get us to a balanced budget like Bill Clinton did. But I don't think Clinton was handed as bad of an economy as Obama was. We were on the brink. If you recall, we've talked about this just recently. We just went through a huge housing bubble burst, and then the banking industry on the verge of collapse, which would have not only caused a great recession here and probably a depression, it would have been worldwide, since so much of our financial industry is global. He didn't quite get us to a balanced budget, but he had a lot had to be done. So I'm so sick and tired. I know Obama's not perfect, but no one is perfect. Who's your dream candidate? AOC might be my dream candidate to be president. She's not going to, if she ever is going to be president, she won't be perfect. She's going to make mistakes. Everybody makes mistakes. No one is fucking perfect. Barack Obama is not Jesus Christ. He cannot walk on water. We all know that. But we don't need to fucking bash him now. He was a pretty goddamn good president, and he did a lot. And he took us out of a really bad situation that George Bush put us into. George Bush and Dick Cheney, who was probably the real president, the shadow president, and the Republicans in Congress, and Newt Gingrich, and all those motherfuckers took us to the brink of collapse, of financial collapse. And Barack Obama got in there, and with Democrats, of course, it's not just one man. You know, you've got the Democrats, you've got, you know, people behind you. We're able to turn that fucking crisis around and was able to do all those things. And then they vote, these motherfucking cocksuckers vote for goddamn Donald Trump. And we knew then his modus operandi was to just, when you're famous, you can just walk up to them, talking about women, and you can just grab them by the pussy. And the cocksuckers still voted for that motherfucker anyway. Fuck you, you fucking assholes. You still voted for him anyway. And then, after 4 years of his shit, Donald Trump's shit, you voted for him again in 2020. Fortunately, there was enough people that showed up that said, no, we're blocking that. We're gonna vote for Biden. And then in 2025, what do you do? What do you do? You still haven't learned your lesson, you triple Trumpers. You triple Trumper motherfuckers. You still hadn't learned your goddamn lesson. And now here we are. Inflation is through the roof. Unemployment is going up. Healthcare, people are losing healthcare. People are losing Medicare. People are hurting really, really bad. Is this what it takes to wake you motherfuckers up? I mean, my God. If the election was today and with everything happening that's been happening, would you still vote for that motherfucker? Would you goddamn triple Trumpers? Would you be quadruple fucking Trumpers? I bet a lot of you would, wouldn't you? That's how fucking stupid you are. And now we have this stupid, moronic old shitbag in the White House who is severing decades and decades of relationships that we have worked for to have good trading partners and allies across the world. And in fucking a year and a half, those have been severed. It's going to take us decades to get back to where we need to be. That's what all these goddamn Republicans do. They always take us backwards. And because of the last 40 or 50 years of Nixon and Reagan and Bush and Trump, every time they get in, they make us go backwards. They're regressive. And that's why we are decades behind of where we should be. Right now, already, even when we had Obama and we had Biden and we had Clinton, we were already decades behind where we should be because of these fucking Republican policies. When are we going to learn? And there are people today, I still hear them today, that will talk about how Democrats are evil. Democrats will destroy the country. The talk is still going on, even with what's going on, even with what Trump is doing. They are still on the Republican platform, not even just Trump. They still will talk shit about Democrats. And yet we have Democratic administration after Democratic administration where all of these really good things happen. LBJ, Lyndon Baines Johnson, who took out office after Kennedy was assassinated. During his time in office, and then he won right after that. You had the Civil Rights Acts, Voting Rights Acts, you had Medicare, Medicaid, you had all of these great things. People getting Medicare, people getting out of poverty into the middle class, more equality. I mean, the Johnson administration, we kind of overlook that a lot. At least I do. It seems like maybe because I was so young. But the Johnson administration was amazing in terms of progressiveness, in terms of making progress towards equality and equal rights and getting people out of poverty. It was a great administration. They did amazing things. And then what did the assholes do? The asshole voters, they vote for Nixon. Now I know it was fucked up because Johnson said he wasn't going to run. RFK Sr. runs, he gets assassinated. And then there's Humphrey, and Humphrey was a good guy. I guess Humphrey kind of became the nominee after it looked like RFK was going to had locked in there, but he got assassinated. So then it was Humphrey, and Humphrey was a really nice guy from Minnesota. But it was kind of like not quite like Kamala Harris, Joe Biden thing. I mean, he had been running and the whole time, and it was kind of like that because I think RFK was a shoo-in, and then once he was eliminated very conveniently, that just led the way for Nixon, and then we got stuck with Nixon and more escalation in Vietnam and more, and of course Watergate and all that shit, and then we had. We only got one term of Carter because of all of this Reagan, Iran-Contra, just more lying and grifting to get into office. And then we end up with a fucking clown B actor in Ronald Reagan. Remind you of anything? Now we have Trump, a clown reality TV host on a shitty show. It was a shitty show. It wasn't a shit show. It might have been a shit show, but it was a shitty show. I think I watched one episode and maybe some clips in there because back then I think Talk Soup would play clips. Back when Greg Kinnear, I think, was still the host. I think maybe not. Maybe it was someone else, but I think I mainly saw The Apprentice. I'm talking about The Apprentice from those clips that they would play on like Talk Soup or something. What was I watching? What was I watching? I forget if it was a YouTube video or a TV show. What was it? But it was something from the 80s. And even way back in the 80s, someone made a Donald Trump reference. And it was something about, I don't know, somebody filed bankruptcy or something. And then the guy goes, who do you think you are, Donald Trump? This is back in the fucking 80s. Anyhow, back to the chat. Mad Max says, back in high school, I had a friend catch his nuts on fire trying to join the Blue Flamers Club. We all laughed our asses off. Oh, that's funny. Mad Max says, back in the 70s, we didn't trim the verge like we do nowadays. Oh my gosh. TMI on that one, I guess. DPD says getting rid of my Tesla was the best decision I ever made. And then some sort of spelling of fuck, I guess. Do you have an EV now, though? I'm just wondering. I'm just curious. Did you get another EV? Because there's some great EVs out there now. You know, it used to be that I think Tesla was far and away the best EV, but there's a lot of great EVs out now to choose from, I think. Big Hook says The Burrows is a sci-fi series in the same genre of Stranger Things. And then Max says, nope, it's about a retirement community built in the middle of a desert in Arizona, I think. It's a sci-fi comedy thriller. Is it on the Sci-Fi Network? Where do we watch this? Where can we find it? Let me know where we can find it, because I would like to check it out. Oh yeah, Bonnie Tyler. Yes, that's the one, Big Hook. That's who I was thinking of. Yeah, Bonnie Tyler. You had Kim Carnes. Yeah, that must have been it. I don't know why the chat isn't moving on that. Anyhow, Rosanna, yes, Chimney Rock. Yeah, I've driven past Chimney Rock a few times back in my truck driver days. For show. Yeah, 007 Kevin says Trucker John the Burrows is a sci-fi series about a retirement home discovering first contact with aliens. Yeah, that sounds interesting. I'll have to check that out. If you guys would tell me what network that's on, that would be great. That would be great. IB YouTubing says yes. Republican runoff 2. Cornyn Paxton. I vote for the Democratic Party or Democrat Party, but it should be Democratic Party. Let's not fall into their trap. Yes, Gina Hinojosa is running against Abbott in November. According to that meme, she's leading in the polls. So I hope that carries out to fruition, I guess. Big Hook says Texas used to be number 2 in a lot of categories. Since Republican capture, now they are 40th in most categories. The march to the bottom continues. And don't people see this? Don't these fuckers see this? How Republicans just they don't give a fuck about people. They only give a fuck about themselves and their rich corporate donors. Brooklyn is back. Hey, Brooklyn, good to see you. Thanks for coming back. I do appreciate you. I do appreciate you. Appreciate you. Appreciate you. Anybody understood, TJ? I'm not sure about Luck Dragon. That must have been about. Like I said, I appreciate you bringing it up and bring it to my attention or whatever. But yeah, that's been going on for months. The ball is in his court on that. I told him I would take it off his hands, and that I appreciate the gesture, or I appreciate that very, very much. That's a great thing. But Then he never contacts me or whatever. So Bad Max said, yeah, he said his girlfriend told him to keep it and sell it to get money instead. The car, I remembered thinking that he should have made some other excuse, laughing out loud. He did say that, but then after he said that, Mad Mac, you're right. He did say that about the girlfriend. But then after he said that, then he would post again, like, I've got that card still there waiting for you. You know, so whatever, you know. Duct tape to the rescue. Yeah, I might have to. But right now, if I just don't touch it, it's fine. But I mess around and it loosens up. Josh C says, "Damn it! I wish I had volume on for whatever that was." You're still not listening, Josh, because Josh is in the theater. He's in the basement of the theater, but he's in the theater nevertheless. So when people can ask him, what he's doing, he can say, "I'm in the theater," and you can just leave out the basement part of it. And you must say it with a slight British accent, if that's what this is. Rest in peace, Sonny Rollins, blah, blah, blank. Well, rest in peace, Sonny Rollins. I don't know who that is. That's not who I was thinking of. I did RIP someone, I think after Kyle Busch. I RIP'd someone else recently. I can't remember who it is. Mad Mac, Major Ojeda has pneumonia. I had double pneumonia when I was a kid. I almost died, according to my grandma. Well, you probably did, because I've heard pneumonia is the worst on little kids and old people, like really old people. But first I saw, I think a picture that Ojeda had posted of him in the hospital bed, where he was giving a thumbs up and he was saying, "Hey, thanks to everybody, for all the well wishes." And I was like, "What the fuck happened?" And then they didn't say what it was. And then I think maybe was it Hal or somebody else mentioned that Ojeda was in the hospital with pneumonia. So I was like, "Fuck, what's with the fucking pneumonia?" I didn't know pneumonia could be like, like a big, like it would spread or whatever. Hey, we got 4 minutes, 47 minutes left on the goal. We're 0 for 5 on the goal. We got 4 minutes, 41 seconds. I'll do a little chair dancing if we make the goal. Here's a little taste. Here's a little taste. Kevin O'Leary, yes, I'm YouTubing. Mr. Wonderful, that's what it was. Yes. That shitbag. Another shitbag. They're all shitbags, all these motherfuckers. Fuck them all. They think that these assholes like Kevin O'Leary, they think that we owe them something. That it's because of them that the economy is going on. No, motherfucker, it's because of us, the consumers. This is consumer-driven economy. It's the consumers that create jobs. It's the consumers that create these billionaires because we buy their shit. The billionaires seem to think that we owe them something, because I've heard Jamie Dimon say that, "Thank you, DPD. Yippee, $20. Thank you so much. I appreciate you." But I remember during Occupy Wall Street, Jamie Dimon was coming out saying, "We're the ones that create the jobs. These people should fucking appreciate us, because without us, there wouldn't be any jobs." Fuck you, Jamie Dimon, you piece of shit motherfucker. We're the ones that create the jobs because we buy your shit. We buy all the shit, and that creates economic stimulus, and that creates jobs. It's because of us, not because of you, you prick. Fuck you, Jamie Dimon. Fuck you, Kevin O'Leary. Fuck you, Jeff Bezos. Fuck you, Elon Musk. Fuck you, Donald Trump. Fuck them all. I'm so sick of these billionaire motherfuckers. Tax them out of existence. That's what I say. Tax them motherfuckers right out of existence. And by that I mean to not be billionaires. If you can't get by on $100 million or $900 million, then fuck off. Mr. Bob Jules here. Hey, Bob, good to see you. Thanks for popping on in. I do appreciate you. I'm just skipping down a little bit. I know I'm really behind in the chats, and it's so we've already been 2 hours already. Me just doing my thing for 2 hours now. I'd be tubing. Are you thinking of Heart of Glass? No, it was Bonnie Tyler. But I did like Blondie and Heart of Glass. Big Hook 11:54 time reference. I believe I'm 22 minutes behind. I believe that puts me at 22 minutes behind. Just in case you're wondering, in case you're keeping score at home, I'm 22 minutes behind you. So the stuff I'm reading in chat was from 22 minutes ago. So I'm going to skip down a little bit. I am going to skip down. Let's see. Do I have any other memes that I wanted to show you today? Well, this one was interesting. This one's interesting. Damn it! I hate this setup. The way I got to do things. I really hate it. But anyhow, it is what it is. So here's an interesting meme. It says Kamala Harris leads JD Vance in a new 2028 presidential poll per TPSI. I don't know what TPSI is, but it has Kamala Harris leading JD Vance 47-39. I think I got this meme off of either Substack or Threads, because then someone responded and saying she can't win, and so we need to have. They had a Newsom Mark Kelly poster, which I would be fine with that too. But I mean, I don't know. So what do you guys think? I think Kamala Harris is going to run again. Do you think she'll get the nomination? I think AOC is going to run. Here's who I think so far. Here's who I think is going to run. And this is not, this is not like exclusive or whatever, or this is just, there's going to be probably 12 people initially running or whatever, or more. But I think AOC is going to run. I think Kamala Harris is going to run. Gavin Newsom is going to run. J.B. Pritzker is going to run. I think Pete Buttigieg is going to run again. Mark Kelly is going to run. That's 6. Who else is going to run? Maybe Beshears or somebody? I don't know. He might run. That's 7. So, but the Beshear one, I'm not so sure about. But those first 6, I'm pretty sure are going to run. Those first 6 I just mentioned, I'm pretty sure they're all going to throw their hats in the ring. And Hal Sparks. I don't know if he's still. He said he was going to run for president. Then he said he was going to run for LA mayor. Then he said he was going to run for something else. I don't know. But anyhow, so what do you think, Kamala Harris? Now, of course, this is just a head-to-head thing. If your choice is between Vance and Harris, of course you're going to say Harris if you're a Democrat. But once we get into the full-on campaign mode and everyone that throws their hat in the ring, we're going to have 10, 12, 15 people on at first, probably. At least we're going to have at least 6. The 6 I mentioned. We'll have at least probably 10, like major candidates, and so that's a whole different thing. Who's going to come out on top of that is really the main question. But if it was just head to head, and let's say those are the 2 nominees of the parties, Harris and Vance. According to this TPSI poll, which I've never heard of, I don't think, they've got Kamala Harris up 47-39. I just thought that was interesting. Rosanna says triple Trumpers are the worst people. Yeah, I can forgive people who voted for him the first time. I can. But if you voted for him a second time and a third time, then there's probably no hope for you, and you would probably vote for him again. You would probably be a quadruple Trumper, a quadruple Trumper, and that's pretty sad. That's just sad. Sad. PGG 200 LBFB says 1 time is enough. Morons. Anna Moore says, I've been saying that since day one about Elon and his interference in the 2024 U.S. elections. France is now investigating into Elon's interference in their legislative elections. .007 Kevin Troll Slayer says, Trucker John, I hated that Judge Pirro cussed Trump out in 2016, or Judge Pirro. I guess not. I thought you meant Janine, but I guess this is a different judge, I guess, who cussed Trump out in 2016 and now in 20. Oh, well, okay. I guess it was Pirro. Okay, so she cussed him out in 2016, and now in 24 she got picked to help Trump, and she was like, I love him. Are we talking about Janine Pirro, I guess? And you hate that. Okay. PDG 200 LBFB says we live in the land of the stupid. Bad Max Sirhan shot here. Okay, yeah, I'm well aware. I'm well aware. DPD says apparently JD Couchfucker Vance has decided not to run in 2028. I wonder who will become Thiel's new protege. I don't know, but for the Republican side, I think Mark Rubio is going to run. Who else? DeSantis, maybe? It's just complete losers. They don't, I thought Vance was going to run, but I don't know. Who else they got? They're all just shitbags. Yeah, PDG says how hosted that show back in the day. Yeah, he did for a while. Talk soup. They've had a lot of hosts. I remember Greg Kinnear, I thought was really awesome. What was John, what's his face? He had the little shock of gray hair in his beard. He was good. Man Mac says, I had said it was on Netflix when I first brought it up. All right, well, I forgot. Good, I have Netflix, so I'll look it up. DPD says, yes, I do drive an EV, a Mercedes-Benz EQE SUV. Awesome, DPD. Awesome. I imagine it's a Mercedes. It's probably good quality, huh? Did they do a good job on the EV? On the technology. James Harmeo, anybody here watching the series from? I'm not, because I've never heard of it. MJ Daniel says Texas will always be number 2 in my book. Paul Burrows, oh Lord, won't you buy me a Mercedes Benz? My friends all drive Porsches, I must make amends. Oh Lord, won't you buy me a Mercedes Benz? Yeah, what's her face? Sang that song. And I'm just now getting to the DPD $20 super chat. Yippee, DPD. Thank you so much. I'll give you the thumbs up and a heart. And DPD says, happy tip day, TJ. So we got one. I guess time ran out. And I don't think the counter is working. They're having problems with the counter. But we got at least 1 out of 5. So no chair dance. No chair dance. I will not be chair dancing. Unless we get 4 more in by the time I end the show. Wow. Mad Max says, I worked with a lady that went home early because she was sick with a cold on Friday. And on Monday, they told me she had died over the weekend from pneumonia and couldn't get any oxygen. She was 37. Wow. That is horrible. That's horrible. Anna Moore says, Sonny Rollins, he was a great jazz musician. Rest in peace. I don't follow jazz. But nevertheless, rest in peace. Or rest in power. Some people say rest in power for some reason. I think they say that. I don't know. People always got to be different. They always got to do something different. Rest in peace is not good enough, apparently. Big Hook says O'Leary must have a lot maybe bet on AI because it's supposed to be the largest data center in North America. Is that the one in Utah that they're talking about or something? Maybe. I think just bet, Big Hook. Just bet, not betted. Anna Moore says, I've always said that we, the people, have the power to make these billionaires. We also have the power to break them. I shall break you. I will break you. As Drago said to Rocky, I must break you. I believe that's how it went. Rob Hawkins asked, TJ, are you on here every day? I cut back to Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Saturdays. And Big Hook backed me up on that. Shapiro. Oh, Shapiro, he's a Democrat. He's going to run from Pennsylvania? He might run. Yeah, okay. I could see that. Shapiro making a run, putting his hat in the ring. Paul Burrows, 1223. Got to drive back to St. Maries, Idaho. Peace out. All right, Paul, thanks for hanging out with us. Have a good day up there in Idaho. I'm about 7 minutes behind in the chat. Yeah, drive safe, as Brooklyn says there. DPD, yes, they do, TJ. I guess we're talking about the Mercedes EV. I would imagine, they're a good company. They would make a good quality car, even EV wise. I like the Volkswagen, the van. It's kind of a retro looking van, right? Have you seen that? But it's very expensive, way too expensive. It's a really sharp looking van. I've just seen a lot of YouTube videos on that VW. What do they call it? I forget what they call it, but it's a very retro looking kind of looks similar to the old style VW buses or whatever they call them, but they're really sharp. But they're like 80 grand or something, and I don't think the range is all that great. If they could bring that price down by half and double the range, then they would have a really good car. I'm kind of excited about the Slate. It's the little pickup that's supposed to be coming out sometime. I don't know if it's going to be later this year or next year. It's a little two-door pickup, and it's supposed to be under $30,000. I mean, when they first came out, it was supposed to be a $20,000 truck, and I think they were hoping on those tax credits that Biden had at the time, with like the $7,500 tax credit. Of course, Trump let that all lapse. He didn't. He just didn't renew it or whatever. He just let it lapse, or maybe he got rid of it. I don't know, but outright. But the $7,500 tax credit went away, and I think Slate was depending on that to keep that price down. But they're still claiming that they can get it under 30. Like mid to high 20s for the Slate pickup truck. I'm kind of excited about that. I would like to think maybe I could be in a financial position by the time it comes out. Maybe I could get one. I don't know. Maybe I'm just a dreamer, but I'm not the only one. But I'm excited about the Slate truck. I've been seeing videos on all these Chinese EVs that aren't allowed to be sold here. But if they were sold here, they've got these kind of like micro EVs that are really tiny, but I don't give a fuck because my situation where I would just drive just about anything, just to have anything to go back and forth to work in. They've got these micro EVs that if they did sell them here, they said they would be like $4,000, $5,000. I would get one of those if they could sell them here, But anyhow, it is what it is. Janis Joplin. Yes, thank you, Brooklyn. Janis Joplin. She was quite the singer. Every time I hear her songs on the radio, I'm just like, wow. I'm still amazed by Janis Joplin. The soul. There's just the soulfulness. It's like all of these raw emotions just come right out in her voice and her singing. It's just amazing. Very tragic that she died. Very tragic. DVD, please don't judge me. I'm not a pretentious witch, I swear. No, I know. Hey, I'm not judging you for the Mercedes. I think it's great that you got an EV, that you stuck with EVs. You didn't go back to gas. I think that's great. Oh, is Christina Sungo Squad here? Did I skip you? I might have skipped you because there you are. Hey, hello, Christina Sungo Squad. Somebody else must be on now because I notice our numbers are really dropping. Is somebody else on, or am I just boring everyone to death? Maybe that's it too. Anyhow, I am just about done. We're over 2 hours. I think, is the microphone still on? Hopefully, yeah. Okay. I'm going to try to get to work today, even though I'm really tired. I feel like taking a nap because I only got like 2 hours of sleep. Mad Mac. Ida Pimp, what are you supposed to say to anyone that says Idaho? Ida Pimp. Ida Pimp and Idaho. Did Utah what Utah? VW iBuzz. Yeah, there you go. Mad Max says it starts at 60K. Well, maybe apparently all the cool ones that I looked at were more than that. But even 60K, I think it's too expensive for the range you get and everything. Cut that price in half and double the range, and you'll sell 5 gajillion of them. That's what these manufacturers, they need to fucking learn that. You cut the price and double the range, and you're going to fucking sell a lot. Not a lot of people can afford 80, 90,000, even $60,000 cars, even though the average price of cars nowadays is probably around that, around 50,000. If you could make a fucking $30,000 cool looking retro VW bus that gets at least like a 300 or more range, you would probably sell 1 million of those fuckers just in America alone. DVD said YouTube is frightening when Alex Karp, Elon Musk, and Peter Thiel, Sam Altman, Mark Zuckerberg, Sundar Pichai, and Zhang Zhang have in store for humanity. I don't have a problem making fun of someone's name if they're a dick. So I'm assuming this Zhang dude's a dick. Yeah, Mad Max says the reason the new VW bus is not selling well is a premium price tag and underwhelming driving range. Just what you said, TJ. Yes, that is what I said. And Mad Max says, yes, but those cars are made with child slave labor. The Chinese ones? I did, well, you know. Hey, kids got to work too. They got to, you know, they have to work. They need to pull their weight. I'm just kidding. Are they made with child slave labor, or do we know that for a fact? I don't know. Anamore says, TJ, the hantavirus can cause respiratory illness leading to fluid buildup in the lungs or pneumonia. I wonder if the virus is here among us and all of these recently reported pneumonia deaths. I wonder. Something's up. Something's up, and I do not trust the Trump administration and the CDC headed up by RFK, you know, skunk penis eater or whatever the fuck he is doing these days, you know, leading the way. Mad Mac, no tax credits for EV thanks to Orange Turd. Rosanna, 21st century suffragists on. That might be why everyone's leaving. Or maybe they're on at 1. I don't know. But anyhow, they're on at 1. Okay, so there's still 22 minutes or whatever. So when you guys go over there, tell them Trucker John said hi. I'll probably be napping, though. I'll probably have them playing on the TV as I take a nap on my beautiful, lovely couch. Mad Max says, yeah, there's another guy doing a show, right? Is it BB? Is it BB? Not Netanyahu. Let me see. Where? Let me see if is. Oh yeah, the lobster. The lobster's over there with the rock in the car. That guy. I just gave him a thumbs up. If anyone has 2 devices, if you're going over there, tell Boston Brian I said hi. Tell him I said hi, and I'm going to end the show. And if you want to rate him, rate him. I'm not doing raids anymore because no one does it. Seems like maybe 1 or 2 people. So, but if you go over there, just say hi from Trucker John. I go. But he's over there. Brian's over there. I hope he parked his car. I hope he parked his car in the right spot over there. And you guys can have some lobster. I know I do a terrible Boston accent, but I gave him a thumbs up. I just now did that. So just so you know, there's no animosity. There's no hard feelings. I offered my beautiful couch to Boston Brian when he was going through his thing of breaking up and leaving and going out of there. By the way, Big Hook, you should consider a Suzuki Kai van from Japan for $8,000. Great for city driving. Are they? Can you? I guess you could buy those in America because I had a Suzuki Swift car way back in the early '90s. Yeah, I guess early and mid '90s. I had a Suzuki Swift, and then I went from that to a Geo Metro, which was basically a Swift with just like a GM tag on it, right? Badge. One of those cars, I don't think both of them. Which I think the Swift was a 3-cylinder. I think the Metro though was a 4-cylinder. I think it had a different engine, so maybe it wasn't just the same. But I always thought they seemed like the same. But it was a 3-banger, and I drove that to work every day, 60-mile commute one way, 120 miles a day in that Swift, and I think I was getting like 50 miles a gallon, maybe more, in that little 3-banger. Christia says, no, they're on at 4. Yeah, 21st Century Suffragettes will be on in 19 minutes. We also have Boston Brian on right now. So if you guys go over there, tell him I said hi. And I'll be signing off in a few seconds here, a few minutes. DPD says, wear your mask. People wear your mask. Did you wear your mask to the BTS concert? Be honest. I want to know. DPD, were you the one over there wearing the mask? Mad Max says, I agree. If it's hantavirus is causing those symptoms to make pneumonia in people, this regime wouldn't know what the fuck to do with it, so they would sweep it under the rug from the American people. They wouldn't know what to do. They wouldn't care what to do. They don't give a fuck. They think it's a fucking feature, not a bug, like if people start dying off. They really do. DPD says you should rest. I'll take a little rest, and I got to go to work, though. Rosanna, what happened to Boston Brian and Mel? I don't. They broke up. All I know is they broke up, and he came back. He went back to Boston, and I did offer him my couch if he needed a couch. I'm pretty sure he got the message through Andrea, basically. IB YouTubing says masks and gloves were considered over-the-counter items that you can purchase with Medicare Rewards Program. Starting this year, you cannot get those anymore. You need to pay out of your own pocket. Big Hook 3-cylinder 660cc engine, quite reliable and cheap to drive. Is that what I had in the Swift, the Suzuki Swift? I just remember it was a 3-cylinder. I don't remember the cc size. I remember I ran the hell out of that thing, commuting back and forth 120 miles a day, getting great gas mileage. I ran the wheels off of it, and then I went and bought a Geo Metro and I ended up wrecking that one. I ended up rolling that one. And then from there, I got something else. I forget what I got after that. I think I got a Ford after that. And that was a mistake. Remember the Ford Tempo? I was gonna say Taurus, but it wasn't a Taurus. I think I got a Ford Tempo. That was a mistake. It wasn't that bad of a car, though. Actually, it wasn't that bad. Actually, now that I think about it. Let's see. Big Hook, not a highway car, but great for city driving. Oh, that little Kai thing is not. That's not a highway car. But the Swift was. The Swift was good. I mean, I would just drive. I could get that thing. The speed limit was 65. I could comfortably do 65, 70 in that Swift. But yeah, those little tiny little kind of truck things you're talking about. Yeah, those probably wouldn't be good on the highway, but that definitely it would be great for my little commute here. my 17-mile commute on surface streets, that would be great. DPD, I was afraid to ask. He wasn't mentioned here in a while. Oh, we can talk about Boston Brian. I did go through a small. I did go through a small little phase there where I didn't want to talk about the other people that were on or whatever. And then I realized that was really kind of petty. And then we're all in this together. All of us, 21st century suffragettes, Boston Brian, me. A lot of times our shows overlap, but we're all liberal Democrats, progressives, whatever. We all hate Trump. We all want to defeat Trump. We all want Democrats to win. We're all on the same side. So I'm not. So I don't. I'm not. I don't care if people go to Boston Brian or 21st century suffragettes. I really don't. I mean, I'm glad they do that. If you're not gonna be watching me, then I would rather that you watch Boston Brian or the 21st century suffragettes or whomever. So there's that. DVD says, "Hell yes, I wore my mask." All right, all caps. All right, of course you did. Of course you did. Of course you wore your mask. What was I thinking? Why would I even question that? Of course. How many other people were wearing masks? I'm just curious. I don't know. I shouldn't even. I don't want to make. I'm not. I'm not trying to be a dick. So you don't have to answer that. Mad Max says my mom had a Geo Metro. That's that little baby Jeep. No, the Jeep was a Suzuki. The Suzuki, they call them Zooks. Well, it wasn't the Swift. I had a Suzuki Swift, which was just like a car, like a little car. Suzuki had they looked like little Jeeps. That was Suzuki, but I forgot what they called it. I rented one when we were in Hawaii on our honeymoon back in '89. We rented one of those little Suzuki Jeeps, and they were awesome. I loved it. We drove all around the whole island in that thing. I love that little Suzuki. People just call them Zooks now, but that was Suzuki, the little Jeep. The Geo Metro was just another little car that looked just like the Swift, in my opinion. DPD says, "Oh no, I hate that for BB." Yeah, it was a thing, but I think he's doing fine now. I think he's doing good. I think Boston Brian is over it pretty much, right? And he seems to be doing good, and he seems to be happy to be back at home, back in Boston. Big Hook says Swift was 1.3 liter. The Metro was 1 liter, 3-cylinder engine. Were they both 3 cylinders? I guess maybe they were both 3. It's been so long, I forgot. I knew that one of them was a 3-cylinder. I guess they were both 3 cylinders because that's why I always thought they were both the same car. Because I know they were both. I think they're both Japanese, and sometimes like Mazda, like makes Ford Rangers and shit or whatever. I guess right? Don't think Mazda was making some Fords, and I thought Swift was making those Geo Metros maybe, but I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. But yeah, I went from a Swift to a Metro. Little 3-bangers that was getting me 50, 60 miles a gallon back in early 90s. James Armio, I love both B-Man and the Jets. Yeah, I love them too. I watch them all the time. I'm watching them right now. He's got a map of Ukraine and shit, talking about the Ukraine war. Slava Ukraini, man. Big Hook. The Jimny is a Kai off-road vehicle, but they need to meet the 25-year rule to be exported to the U.S. Viterra. The Suzuki Jeep What was that called? It wasn't the Swift because I had the car. That's just like a little car. The Suzuki Swift was a car. The little Jeep was Suzuki too, right? I'm pretty sure that was Suzuki. I know people just call them Zooks because of Suzuki, but that wasn't what it was called. It was called something else. They put the Chevy named it Sidekick. So I guess they had a Chevy Sidekick. Wasn't the Sidekick more of a mini little SUV? I had the Metro. The Geo Metro was like a little car, like a little sedan. I think it was 4 doors, but it was little. DPD says I saw a couple people wearing masks, but not that many. Everett Tauscher's here. Hey, Everett, good to see you. Thanks for popping on in. We're just about ready to wrap things up, but thanks for popping in. I do appreciate you. Big Hook says Swift was available in 3-cylinder in special order, but the Swift was a 4-cylinder. Well, one of those cars, I remember I had a 3-cylinder, and I don't remember special ordering it. Maybe they just had one on the lot, and that's what I bought. I remember having a 3-cylinder because I thought, wow, I didn't even know they made 3-cylinder cars. But I had one of them. One of those, either the Metro or the Swift was a 3-cylinder. Mad Mac, that's why I keep subsidizing BB. He talks about Ukraine. Oh, absolutely. He's between him and Jake Bro. Those are my two main sources of Ukrainian war stuff, information. David Weiss says the Suzuki Kazashi was a cool car. You're thinking of No, I'm not. I'm not thinking of Sidekick. The one that looked like a Jeep. It looked like a little Jeep. It wasn't called Sidekick. I know what the Sidekick. The Sidekick was more like a little SUV. I'm talking about the one that actually looked like a Jeep. Samurai. That's it, Tauscher. Yes, the Suzuki Samurai. That's it. Yes. Mad Max, Suzuki Samurai was what she had. I Googled it. Yes. I was just about to Google. I was just about to go to the old Google machine. Yes, Everett, and Mad Max. Yeah, the Samurai. Those are really cool. I would like to buy one of those if I had the money, because people sell them still. They don't make them anymore. I don't think they haven't made them for. I think they stopped making them like 30 years ago. But I would buy a Suzuki Samurai in a heartbeat if I had the money. I mean, and you can. I remember looking at them a few years ago, and you could find some nice ones for, I think, like $3 or $4 grand or something. I would definitely buy one of those if I had the money. Big Hook, same car depending on what year it was produced. Changed the name. Rosanna 21 Samurai. Rosanna says I have one. It's a 1987. Does it still run and everything? Is it still in good shape? For some reason, I just love those little things. I just love them. And like I said, the only time I drove one was when I was on my honeymoon in Hawaii, and we rented one for just the day. I wasn't like the whole, because we were there for like a week. I think we just had it for one day, but it was fun. I just loved it. Big Cook says Samurai was first generation. DPD says I think it was called a Jimmy TJ. Oh, I guess I was wrong. The Jimny, I don't know. The Jimny, I think, are like those little SUVs or something. It was more like a little SUV. The Samurai actually looks like kind of like an old Jeep Willys, think of the Willys, like the old Army Jeeps from the Army. That's kind of what it looks like, except smaller and a little more updated, I guess. Rosanna, it's still parked at my house in Dolores, Colorado. Does it run? I'll do a GoFundMe. Maybe I could buy it if you want to sell it. I have a GoFundMe, which, by the way, the GoFundMe is kind of dead in the water. We got up to $350 on it. You know, it's kind of dead in the water. Mad Max says they are called Suzuki Jimny now. Yes, I double checked that there was an N in the word. Laughing out loud. My mom loved her little baby Jeep. So do they still have them? I remember her saying do they still make them? I remember her saying we would have to rip the keys from her, laughing out loud. So do they still look like little Jeep Willies Jeeps? Mad Mac, like a small CJ Jeep. Yeah, yeah. Exactly. Big first generation, unfortunately, were rust buckets, and what killed a lot of them and rollovers. Rosanna says they are very dangerous. Well, I drove one for one day, or at least, however many, 12 hours. I did not roll it over. I never felt unsafe. I never felt like, oh, this thing's unstable. I never felt like, oh man, this is like a death trap. But it was only for, 12 hours, probably. I don't even remember. It might have been less. But I just remember we rented it and we drove all around the complete island of, what's the, Oahu? Yeah, Oahu, because we went to Waikiki. Adam Westchus, if you're listening, you know what I'm talking. You know where you know all the names. But yeah, we went to Oahu and stayed at Waikiki Beach. Very beautiful. Went and saw everything there was to see, I think, on that island. We drove you could take the highway. It goes all the way around the island. And we rented one of those Suzuki Samurais. I'm pretty sure that's what it was. It was the one that looks like the little Jeep. And I loved it, man. I absolutely loved it. And I never felt like, we're going to tip over or whatever. Maybe it's just because I'm a really good driver. And you guys aren't. I'm just kidding. You guys, I'm sure, exquisite drivers. Squirrel Girl, I've wanted to donate more. Oh, Squirrel Girl, thank you for being here. Thank you so much. Thank you for, you've gone beyond and beyond and above in your support of the show and supporting me. And I am so grateful to you and everyone else. I've had some great, awesome people, and I don't want you to feel bad. And if anyone who hasn't been able to donate or whatever, I don't want anyone to feel bad. I know these are tough times, hard times for everyone, and so please don't feel bad or anything like that. And I am so grateful to Squirrel Girl. You've gone above and beyond. Yeah, you've got several thousand of Delaware coming up. Yeah. No, I'll donate some. You don't have. You know what? You don't have to donate anything, Squirrel Girl. I am so grateful to you. You've done your share. You take care of you first. Take care of yourself first, and there's nothing for you to worry about or whatever. I'm so grateful. I appreciate you, DPD. There's so many people. I didn't want to bring up names because then I'm going to forget people or leave people out. So many people have donated to GoFundMe. They've donated with super chats. We have memberships. People are members. All that stuff helps with everything. And so just a quick shout out and a quick thank you to everyone who has helped this show and helped me. This show means me, by the way. But for helping me out, and I'm just so grateful to all of you. No matter how you do it, like liking, subscribing, sharing, those are great ways. Getting us in the algorithm, getting the subscribers up with your donations, the super chats, super stickers, PayPal, buy me a coffee, GoFundMe, all that stuff. So grateful and so appreciative, and so don't ever feel like you've done more than enough. anyhow, Rosanna 21 says it's perfect in Hawaii. It was. I think it would be perfect for my 17-mile one-way. So it'd be for my 34 miles a day on surface streets going back and forth to work. I think a Samurai would be fine. You want to give me a good deal on that? What just happened? Rosanna 21 999 super sticker. Yippee, Rosanna! Thank you so much. I appreciate that. I do appreciate you. Thank you so much. Mad Max says they were in the 2025 Japan Mobility Show, so they're still being made, but maybe not imported into the States. I don't know. I don't think the Jimny is what I'm thinking of. I don't. Is that like a Samurai? You guys are what you're describing to me is like some little hover round or something. I don't know. DPD says if they no longer make the vehicles, how would you be able to order parts? I don't know that. Yeah, that's a good question. I mean, sometimes they do have parts houses that have parts and shit, but yeah, that's a good question. That might be difficult. I don't know. Yeah, then you gotta go to junkyards and shit. Yeah. Everett Tauscher says saw a movie last night with an old Jeep. The gas cap was right behind the driver's seat. I thought no way because I can't stand the smell of gas. Wouldn't it be cool? I've been watching a lot of like these like conversion videos where people convert like old gas powered cars to EVs. I think a Samurai would be a great car to convert to an EV. That'd be fun. David Weiss, you're an excellent driver. Don't forget to watch Judge. I know when I said that, I that went in my mind too. Was Dustin Hoffman. Yeah. Thank you, Rosanna. I'm just not coming to in the chat here the super sticker. So once again, yippee to Rosanna 21. Thank you so much. $9.99. If you put that upside down, it would be $6.66. Ooh. Squirrel Girl, I just want to see you get your car. Thank you, Squirrel Girl. And I appreciate your help. And like I said, I was thinking I might just get an e-bike maybe or whatever. I don't know. We'll see. Rosanna 21, love you, TJ. Love you too. Love you back. Right back at you. Thank you so much. It's 103. 21st Century Suffragettes are on. We got Boston Brian on. I guess the suffragettes are coming on. I think later today. I think is Hal coming on today? I don't know. He did. He's doing a jam. Is he doing a jam or something today? So he might not be on. I don't know. DPD says, I found out MTN advertises for Oracle. I contacted Jordy and expressed it comes off as being extremely disingenuous. I didn't see that, but whenever I do watch MTN and they start doing their commercials, I just change this. I just change it because it's a turnoff. I mean, I understand. Okay, here I am. I'm asking for help financially. I have GoFundMe and I have Buy Me a Coffee and I've got PayPal and I'm asking for super chats. I'm doing all that. So I probably sound a little bit hypocritical, but you have Midas Touch that has 6 million viewers or subscribers. I know they just from that alone and the ad revenue, just from the clicks that they're making big bucks. So it just seems to me, and I know who am I to judge? But it just seems a little greedy to me. That's all. I just think it's greedy. They're approaching 7 million subscribers, I think. They're making buku bucks just off of that alone. They don't need to do live reads. They don't need to have sponsors. They really don't. And it's one thing to have sponsors, but to do these live reads and these live commercials, or they put these commercials in their video, it's just a turnoff to me. And maybe I'm being extremely hypocritical, because I don't know. If maybe I might do if some company said, "Hey, we'll pay you," I don't expect they would pay me a lot, but if they even said, "Oh, we'll pay you $1,000 to do this ad," I would probably do it. But I'm poor. Midas Touch is not poor. They're making buku motherfucking bucks just off their subscriber numbers and all the ad rev they get from that. I'm sure they're making, seven figures just off of that. I'm sure they're making millions of dollars, or I bet you they're making at least high 600, six figures, maybe even seven figures, just off their fucking ad rev, off their 6 million subscribers and the views they get. So when I see them do commercials, as soon as I'll watch Ben and them talking. As soon as they go to a commercial, I just change it because I'm just like, I'm not watching your stupid commercial. I know it sounds hypocritical of me too, but what can I say? I'm a hypocrite. Big Hook says Samurai is a North American version with the bigger engine. The Jimny is less wide and 660 cc 3-cylinder engine. Mad Max says doesn't look like a soft wrap that can be removed anymore, but more like a mini Hummer or one of those square-looking Nissan Cubes. Okay. Or Scion square car. Mad Mac, remember the Volkswagen thing? Yeah, I want one of those suckers. I see those in YouTube videos at like car shows, and they have, and one of those will pop up. There's a couple. I was watching a Volkswagen club that was meeting out here in Boulder. I guess it was Boulder City or something, and they had a couple of those Volkswagen things. They were pretty, I mean, they're goofy looking. I always thought they were goofy looking, but they're kind of cool when you see one that's still around and someone's taking care of it and it's restored or whatever. It's kind of cool. And I bet you they would be fun. I never drove one, but I bet you they'd be kind of fun. Big Hook, Nissan CVT cars. Yeah, I know those transmissions. Big Hook says avoid them like the plague. That they have really serious transmission problems, and if you get one, you're probably going to have to either rebuild the tranny or get a new tranny or use one. And those aren't cheap. And if you're not mechanical, you don't have the tools, you can't do it. Those are pretty tricky. You're going to have to pay really high, labor costs and everything. So, yep. Yep. Let's see. Let me make sure my mic is still on. Mad Max says, for some reason, MTN started doing clickbait. Yeah, clickbait titles. I stopped following and subsidizing. They keep sending me email for signing back up, which I ignore. Yeah, I know that. Yeah, I've noticed that too. The kind of clickbaity. And I know sometimes I might try doing a little clickbaity stuff, but I don't know. I mean, you try to get you try. When you're small like me, you're just trying to get people to your channel. I got 11 people watching. Right now. I know everyone's over either Boston Brian or 21st Century Suffrage right now, but when you've got 6 million going on 7 million subscribers, I don't really think you need to do clickbait at that. They don't need clickbait, and they don't really need to do live reads or commercials and shit. They don't need to do that. To me, that's just greed, which is a shame because I think they do put out good content, and they do. They're definitely not Trump supporters. They'll do whatever they can to expose Trump for being the lying, grifting piece of shit that he is. Uh, Yeah, Squirrel Girl says, I agree. Their commercials, they've gotten too big, in my opinion. Clickbait titles turn me off, says Squirrel Girl. Yeah. Big Hook says, the Beetle, if you can find one with an air-cooled engine, were very easy to work on with basic tools. Yeah, those Volkswagens, the Beetles, the little you could lift that engine out by yourself. You could unbolt it. I think it was just bolted in, and you could just lift the motor right out of those things fairly easily. DPD says you have more viewers than that. Well, right now it says I only have 11. So, but I will get the replays. I'll get 200-300 people to watch. And so if you are watching on the replay right now and you've stuck to this, and we're in it almost 3 hours now, 2 hours 56 minutes. If you are watching on the replay, and if people that are here live now, I appreciate you being here. But if you're watching on the replay, make sure you leave a comment in the comment box. 8 words or longer. Get us out in the algorithm. And hit that hype button if you're watching on the replay. Hit that hype button. I do get, I get statistics. I get analytics. And it says for last week, only 10 hypes. I only got 10 hypes. And probably 2 of those are from me, because on my other channels, I have 2 other channels. I can hype my shows. So I think probably only 8 people, other than myself, hype the show. So if you're watching on a replay or anything like, you can hit that hype button. That helps. All right, guys, I better go before the microphone dies and before I die. I just want to take a little nappy poo, and then I think I'm going to try to get to work. All right, guys, thanks for being here. You guys are awesome. Thanks for the super chats, super stickers. Thanks for all the support. Thanks for liking, subscribing, and sharing. Thanks for everything you guys have done. Thanks for making my mornings nice, where I get to talk and I get to vent a little bit. I get to do that. So thanks for being here. I'll see you guys again on Thursday. I'll try for 9 a.m. unless I have another sleepless night or something. We'll shoot for 9 a.m. And I appreciate your guys' patience. Like for today, I ended up not starting really until after 10 o'clock or so. So I appreciate that for your patience and understanding. And I will see you guys again on Thursday. See you on the next one. So guys, if you want to get your paper and pencil out, and maybe write these words of wisdom. It's words of wisdom time. If you like my new song, it'll be at the end of the outro, by the way. I'm kind of proud of that song. I still want to add a middle verse to it, but it's the one about what we're going to do when that day comes, when that day finally comes, that we're all waiting for. You know the song I'm talking about. That's going to be, if you want to hear it, it'll be at the end of the outro. But I might add another verse. I feel like I'm missing a verse. Anyhow, guys, okay, words of wisdom time. You guys ready? Write this down. Okay, so this is a good one for Tuesday. This is a good Tuesday one.
Well, it's time to say goodbye. The show has come to an end. But don't be sad, no, don't you cry. We're all gonna come back and meet again. We'll have some fun times, hopefully nothing too bad. We might talk about war crimes, might talk about Baghdad. I doubt we'll talk about door chimes. If we did, I'd be only too glad. So I style of Easter, baby. The show is over, but could I ask you maybe to take a shower? No, that's not what I meant, but I couldn't think of anything to rhyme with over. Now my whole rhyming scheme is all screwed up. Oh shit, I should have stuck to truck driving, who I tried to kid. At least when I was out there driving, I could handle a skid, but doing this live stream, baby, has been a real kid. So I hope to see y'all again right here on the Trucker John live stream. We're gonna do it again and again, right here in the Trucker John live stream. Yeah, the Trucker John live stream. We're gonna come back and do it all again. No, this ain't no dream. This is where we win, right here on the Trucker John live stream. No, this time to say goodbye. The show is coming in. Don't be sad, no, don't you cry. We're all gonna come back and meet again. Rolling down the highway in my rusty old rig. I'm a retired trucker, but my spirit's still big. Living in Vegas, where the lights never sleep. Broadcasting my thoughts for the world to keep. From politics to pop culture, I've got it all. Sharing my views, no matter how big or small. Talking about food and movies and bugs, shining a light on all the social issues. No shows, I've driven through the desert, seen the city so bright. But now I'm living in a different kind of fight. From my apartment in Las Vegas, I hold the key, exploring the world through my live stream for free. I'm my apartment in Las Vegas, I hold the key, exploring the world through my live stream for free. So you wanna take a trip down Paradise Road, but it ain't that pretty, it ain't paved with gold. Everybody's got the dirty little secrets, everybody's got some things unknown. But if you ain't real careful, baby, it'll cut you down to the bone. Under all those bright lights, you've gotta learn to ignore the glitter. It's all about fight or flight, and you don't wanna do either. So go on down to Paradise Road, it'll make you wish that you were young. But all it'll do is make you feel old and regret trading in your love for lust. It's all just a big charade, it's all just one big game, and it ain't about love. It's all about the thrills. It's about staying in the hunt. It's about about going in for the kill. So head on down to Paradise Road. That's where your friends are now. They're the people that nobody knows. So go ahead and make your big show. So live it up on Paradise Road. Just don't let anyone know. It'll be your dirty little secret. It'll be your guilty little pleasure. Living a secret that the whole world sees, hiding in plain sight among the scum and the thieves. So damn hard to ever be pleased. Everyone wants to live the good life. Everybody wants a piece of paradise. But where would you run? Where would you hide? What would you do to buy a little more time? Grandiose dreams of happily ever after are really just another day's end. And when the sun goes down, you just lay there wondering, can you really do it all again? You're praying for one last shot. You're hoping for one last big win. Paradise Road is calling, so you better hurry along. Paradise Road is calling, so you better hurry along.
I don't mourn when evil men die. I don't feel sad and I don't cry. Sometimes I wonder why it takes so long for evil men to die. But I want you to know that when you go, you won't be missed. And the ground where you're laid, we're all gonna take a big giant piss. And for your end, we all anticipate, without any love and too exhausted to hate. Your long-lasting legacy will be one of disgrace and shame. Throughout the annals of history, your name will shrink, you'll lose your fame. And as you lay there drawing in your final breath, just know that you made us happiest in death. You will not be thought of kindly, and you won't be missed. And like I said before, on the ground you'll lay. I'm gonna take a big old